CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 28 of The Greatest Attorney 2 Resolve. Last time, we basically talked to Gregson, we investigated an area, we investigated the platform of the death laser, and then we went off to this waxworks museum in order to ask Sherlock about Van Dyke's, only for basically the proprietor of the museum, Madame Two Spells, to basically threaten him with wax, and so basically now he's standing there, because apparently Sherlock, he is bad with money. Much to no one's surprise. So now we gotta investigate. Before I engage in my analytical procedures, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind that curtain? That is the Tuesday special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it. Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must depict a serial killer then, I presume. Oh, so you think that your serial killer is... Now, that better be another Mycroft behind that curtain. Because frankly, I would not accept anyone but my older brother to be the greatest murderer in London. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder? Sorry. Absolutement. Absolutement none. There is absolutely nothing amiss behind there. Nothing amiss, madame. There's an arm there. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond, before the situation worsens. Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only as a coup. I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Two Spells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the portly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor. Juror number 1 from case 3 of the first Greatest Attorney game. Well, then, perhaps Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact. What? As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always distinguishable from real humans. So allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit. Why? Why would you say that? And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. She looks as pale as candle wax. I don't understand. So, Madame Two Spells, as you agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Yep, I called it. Good thing I was ready. I was prepared. Waxworks. Fate. Conclusion. Someone ate it. The portly gentleman ate it. He was curious about the taste, just like how I ate that candle wax once. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds. That is all my own money. That is all my own money. I'm sorry, I slipped out of the voice. So what does this lot of money reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast. It would seem, Madame Two Spells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business is in hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds. None! complex curiosity with which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. He was shocked by your vast stacks of cash. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around your little finger most effectively. What the? Sorry. What are you suggesting? You gave him oral pleasures. He rashly agreed to purchase the waxwork for the sum of 200 pounds. And then you owe him over there with a shovel. Only when he came to hand the money over did it good in an extraordinary amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result, the scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer is this in the special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Sold for cash. Waxworks for gold. Waxwork. Location. The question that rises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only to observe the neckerchief. Such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? The man's quite a celebrity. He revealed triple accolades at last year's policing awards. But next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with the peculiarly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork. But you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man's a waxwork is the obvious price tag. 3 pence, a tragically low price, you might say. Though perhaps the going rate for aging waxwork riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to the properly portly gentleman for an exorbitant 200 pounds. The sort of plucky behavior that should attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame? I do not... Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. Your man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit, and not a moment too soon. Discovered already. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. Yeah, he's getting the wax. I see I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley. You have. Now go home, Hurley. Go home, Hurley. You're high on the opium again. And you're obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could just bring up one point, Mr. Holmes. The notorious Naruto 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction, then, the special exhibit featured this old policeman. So that would mean that he's the particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Automole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that riled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find that the culprit disappeared into the aether.
then it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name of Automole.
So you mean that that's who the sister-looking old man they're supposed to be? Indeed, it was a particularly grim face. It was it not? Unforgettable, in fact. Yes, I remember that odious content only too well. But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things into perspective. So it is quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add before I turn you into wax? You will become a permanent exhibit. I will ensure that you are doomed to this museum forever. Before I melt you down.
That bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
The smell of all that morning wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if that's all right, to make some minor corrections to the great detective's great deductions.
Of course it's all right. We'll soon set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we? Sorry, I thought basically Iris was going to speak. Before Madame Two Spells vents her anger. Just what I was waiting to hear, my dear fellow. Do my work for me. So, Madame Two Spells, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Sold for cash. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in this museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so abruptly from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That is all my own money.
So what does that large sum reveal? Not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Two Spells. Yes, this answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by that public notice. She definitely looked in this direction, it's true. But I'm not sure she'd sell any of her waxworks, even for 200 pounds. Oh.
She must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Or over and above some wax.
If it were me, I
wouldn't sell them for anything.
Sherlock would sell them for $5. For that much money, I would, but it sounds like that makes me a bad person. Well, anyways, I wonder if the 200 pounds could have some other significance.
Let's follow the furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it.
Note on the wall. Yep, note on the wall.
Take that!
Darn it. This looks very suspicious to me. And that's why I'm sure that this is the answer I've been looking for. Shocking of that nature will hasten the end of the universe, Mr. Naruto. The end of the universe? At the very least, you could examine the note before jumping to conclusions. You owe the universe that much, my dear fellow. I hate how they make you examine the note. Well, if it's for the survival of the universe, I suppose I could. Okay.
Judging by appearances, this man and the 200 pounds are in no way related at all.
The poor man was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, it seems. But there's no doubt that Madame Two Spells did react to what Mr. Sholmes said. The way she automatically looked over this way must tell us something, I'm sure.
Then let's have more of a look around.
Examine.
That's the note. What's that? Sorry. What's that note doing pinned on the wall here to remind us that CzarThwomp loves everyone's lines?
Oh yes, let's see. Dear Madame Two Spells, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on the 23rd of October.
What?
This is just the sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped.
Yes, it's a ransom note. Only I write those in this neighborhood.
Exactly. Yes, Iris is very experienced in the art of the ransom note.
Take that!
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the ransom note. Quite so, and we must congratulate these criminals on their interveniences, abducting a waxwork. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, and you clearly intended to pay for it.
The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have.
In summary then, the 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let us explore the next curiosity in which we are presented. Who is this body gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man with such a shocking blow as it caused the 200 pounds? So if the waxwork was kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who this man is?
We could just ask him when he comes around.
I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of the deduction process, Iris.
Yes, you're right. Honey's trying so hard. We mustn't let him down.
Well, there's little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Two Spells trying to hide? Let's have a closer look around. Okay. Rubber glove.
Isn't this Madame Two Spells' right hand, isn't it?
Yes, it must be. I can clearly see her left hand after all.
Oh, but wait a minute. This is a left hand as well. Look.
Don't say such creepy things, Iris, please.
And it seems very stiff, too. In fact, it's really hard.
You mean it's made of wax? Yeah, I'm not getting stumped up again.
Take that!
What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a very substantial blow.
How could you?
The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but close inspection reveals that it is in fact a left hand. And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It is the hand of a waxwork model.
Yeah. Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome, so I kill them and dump them into the wax. They meddle with the exhibits and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake. Like taking a whole branch of a cherry tree when you go to view the blossoms.
I'm afraid I had to teach the man a lesson. That is why he's dead and why you will be dead too.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, the scene we see before us. He was knocked unconscious. The point we may need to revisit later. Good, CzarThwomp didn't mute the mic. But for the time being, we have a conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. Kidnapped with an exclamation mark. For a second right there, I thought the image was upside down. The question then arises then, is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let's consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only to observe the neckerchief. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway.
We're communicating with his colleagues without revealing his identity, yes. It's a secret that's clearly guarded by Scotland Yard and has been revealed to the public right now.
That Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give away.
Well, Uncovering secrets is in any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyways, judging from Madame Tuspel's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. The shoulder stub. What the? The man has a stub sticking out of his shoulder where his arm should be.
Ah, well, that says that then.
Right. This isn't a real person at all.
His entire arm has been ripped off from the shoulder down.
His arm's been... Well, of course, that ties in with what we just found out.
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe. His shoulder stub.
No such boneless human walks this earth. Of that I can assure you. In other words, the man standing here, the young Sergeant John Glay, is in fact defying all odds, a waxwork model.
I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes.
He has become quite a celebrity in London, being the winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally, what other explanation could there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it?
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him with the particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely and he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact, as if he were a waxwork. But you... Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag.
A killer policeman called Ottermole, was he that well known?
He was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looked like. It was a very low price though. That punch isn't much money.
Only enough for a few measly hours of gas in Mr. Garridev's delightful lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taken from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that someone stole from this museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds? Is this crusty old crusty old policeman Ottermole really?
Perhaps we should have a good look around again and see if any other ideas crop up.
Yeah, I'm sorry my voice is off.
Take that!
The twitch. The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious twitch.
Even the most realistic waxworks do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, the splendid old man is in fact a genuine member of Scotland Yard.
Slight shift in your choice of adjectives then.
And there you have it. Well, Madame Tuspels? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come here in the first place.
Here he is clearly fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence?
No doubt the price tag of the muffler, which the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does that not strike you, Mr. Naruto?
Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show that some criminal activity is currently underway.
Of course, because, as you know, there has been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, detective. So it would seem that we've finally arrived at the truth.
The waxwork of the especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model's whereabouts remain a mystery.
Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.
Still a mystery. A mystery that has been solved. Elementary.
All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. They die. Anyways. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. Now give me my money. And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he'll regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special display, if it was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically, it was.
Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork, in as much detail as possible, if you please.
Very well. But after I have told you what I know, I must insist that you return to work.
The talents of the great detective could be put to better use, but I feel, but as you wish. Stolen waxwork. Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please.
It was some days ago now, when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that the waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. Is that yours from the display? So that's why the curtains were closed. And what I found was the ransom note in its place.
The culprit must have been broken in during the night and taken it then.
So this waxwork was stolen? It was a martyr of some horrifying criminal, I suppose. A particularly horrible criminal. In fact, the killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The professor.
Not a name I've heard of. So, Mr. Naruto, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry?
The professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. Indeed it did. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly that time. That Baroque Van Zieks graduated from university, in fact. What? Surely he's not saying.
So the bigger man that changed Mr. Reaper's life?
As you've surmised, it was the professor's case. Who is this professor, then?
It was a series of gruesome murders that had all of London gripped in a terror a decade ago. After 5 victims were killed, the man was arrested and put to death.
And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to come and admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at present on account of the abduction. But I don't understand. How is all of this related to Lord Van Zieks? Lord Van Zieks hated waxworks. You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose, some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Hurley?
Those murdered by the professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy, members of the nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves throughout the country's administration. Members of the... Ah, wait, of course. What Professor Harebrain said. Lord Van Zieks is from a family with noble blood.
Oh, gosh!
It was the 5th victim that led to the professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of... Clint Van Zieks. No! Yes! I don't believe it. Van Zieks? I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Baroque pursued a career as a prosecutor, and eventually became the Reaper we all know today. He became edgier, he became drearier, I had no idea Lord Van Zeeks had such a tragic past. And then Edgeworth, hold my elevator!
Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter, for the time being at least. After all, I have work to do. As a waxwork exhibit. I am afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well.
Oh yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Okay, thank you, text. Well, none of the predicted scenarios I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit. I do not know who's talking.
It's been too long, it really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barack.
It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. So, back to our discussion. Why I believe... Here are my notes on the cranial traits of the Nipponese. These notes were taken when I examined Mr. Natsume in the prison 8 months ago.
Yes, and then Van Zeeks just takes out these profiles.
As you can see, he has the cranial bumps and protrusions of a degenerate.
I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Assman. I just can't. And please, Barack, I can't go to prison. I'm too beautiful to die here. I still can't believe it could happen.
Tomorrow, the court will decide.
Please, I'm sorry I insulted your mullet.
Too late. The wounds have already been cast, and I am broken. You insulted my mullet, so now you die.
Yes, I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though.
Oh, harebrained Albert, you poor, naive man. I understand that you have been through quite a lot in recent times, but... Are you out of your mind? Have you ever met that man? Have you seen what he does in my courtroom? It's kangaroo court every time, with his summation examinations every time, coins of ice, and music boxes, and knives flying from windows. It's insanity.
It was an accident, a terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it.
I must warn you.
Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're going to be the prosecutor, aren't you?
Yes. And just note that my disdain for him outweighs my friendship with you.
Since I returned to England, I've heard a lot of stories. I've read your book, Barack, and frankly, it disturbed me. Barack, are you really hosting that radio show every Sunday?
Yes, from 3:30 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, where I discuss my various views. You should tune in, Albert. It gets quite heated when I open up with my views on the Nipponese. My many views on the Nipponese. What?
Never mind. I know that you have my best interest at heart.
My friend is on trial. I wouldn't trust it to anybody else.
Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barack.
Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court.
Why can't you face me?
Because I have to be edgy. It's in my character description.
To be continued. Okay, we finally got to the court. No, we are not saving just yet. 23rd of October, 8:52 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. I can't believe it's been 6 months since I was last allowed to work in court. And I can't believe that it's already time to end the episode off. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever you want. With that, I'll see you next time. Bye.